Hello students, how is everyone? All okay? Okay. So yesterday's topic was transcription, translation and translocation. So I had given you homework. First we will discuss the homework. Definition of transcription is on page number 1. Page number 1 towards the last paragraph. mRNA is produced as per the sequence of nucleotides on DNA. Only one of the two strands of DNA is used in this process. Complete the brackets there. Bracket open, last sentence. This process of RNA synthesis is called as transcription. I repeat, you have to write from mRNA is produced as per the sequence of nucleotides on DNA. Only one of the two strands of DNA is used in this process. This process of RNA synthesis is called as transcription. This is the definition of transcription. Now the next is translation. You may see translation. Page number 2. Third paragraph. As per the message on mRNA, amino acids are supplied by the tRNA. For this purpose, tRNA has anticodon having complementary sequence to the codon on mRNA. This is called as translation. I repeat, as per the message on mRNA, amino acids are supplied by the tRNA. For this purpose, tRNA has anticodon having complementary sequence to the codon on mRNA. This is called as translation. This is the definition for translation. The definition for translocation is from the amino acids brought in by tRNA are bonded together by peptide bonds with the help of rRNA. During this process, the ribosome keep on moving from one end of the mRNA to other end by the distance of one triplet codon. This is called as translocation. Okay, so that is the definition of translocation. We have finished with the definitions of transcription, translation, translocation and triplet codon. Now the question was, what is central dogma? It is on page number 1, central dogma. In the last paragraph, information about protein synthesis is stored in the DNA and synthesis of appropriate proteins as per the requirement is necessary for the body. These proteins are synthesized by DNA through the RNA. This is called as central dogma. I repeat, the information about protein synthesis is stored in the DNA and synthesis of appropriate proteins as per the requirement is necessary for the body. These proteins are synthesized by DNA through the RNA. This is called as central dogma. All these questions are 2-mark questions. Even if you get a 5-mark question on transcription, translation and translocation, you may mix all these answers, okay, all these definitions together and you may write the answer. Okay, so that will be easier for you. Okay, have you understood transcription, translation and translocation? It is a very important topic. Okay, so today we may move on to the next topic, that is evolution. Evolution is a very important topic of the first chapter. What is evolution? Evolution means the changes which have occurred from generation to generation. Understood? Now this evolution could be rapid, it could be slower. Rapid means it might occur fast, that means within 3 generations or so, or it could be slower, that means it might be taking millions of years. Understood? So the evolution could be rapid, it could be slower also. So scientists always found something special to study about the origin of Earth. Understood? Now this, from there the theory of evolution started. Now evolution is not only limited for the living things on the surface of the earth, even the stars, planets and other heavenly bodies, okay, they have also undergone evolution. We have the study of evolution of living things. Understood? Living things means the plants and animals. In our textbook there are 3 definitions for evolution. Understood? So these are the 3 definitions which we have in our textbook, 1, 2 and 3. I'll tell you which one you have to write later. Now evolution. Evolution is due to variations. What is variation? Variations are the changes which occur from generation to generation. Understood? For example, mosquitoes. When good night was discovered, okay, mosquitoes used to die if you put on the good night. Understood? Good night, you know, the machine which we get, okay, or the all out machine, or there are several other brands available now. Mosquitoes used to die, but as years went by, what did the mosquitoes do? Mosquitoes adapted themselves to the changes, to those medicines, understood, to those chemicals, and nowadays you might have observed that most of the mosquitoes won't die with good night. They just go away. Understood? They just go away, and sometimes you might have seen them sitting on the machine itself, isn't it? So these are the variations which have occurred from generation to generation. This is in case of mosquitoes. Now in case of viruses also the same. Viruses, we get diseases due to viruses. Viruses, they undergo change from generation to generation, and they change themselves and come back in another form. Okay, you might be familiar with this now, with this topic now. Okay, so now the term evolution is concerned with variation. Variations are basically responsible. What are variations? They are the changes which occur from generation to generation. Now, inherited traits. Traits means characteristics. Now, these characteristics, it is not necessary that, it is not enough that if there is a change, that change is confined to that particular generation. It has to be transferred. Understood? So that is inherited traits. Inherited traits. Inherited trait means the characteristic which is transformed from one generation to the next. So these all are responsible for evolution. So what is evolution? Evolution is the gradual change occurring in living organisms over a long duration. Okay? Gradual change. Gradual means slowly. Understood? Slowly, in intervals. Gradual change occurring in living organisms over a long duration. So after a long duration, for about millions of years, after about millions of years, if some change is observed, then it is said to be evolution. Now the next, formation of new species due to changes in specific characters of several generations of living organisms as a response to natural selection is called as evolution. Now what is natural selection? The nature selects the best. Understood? This was a theory which was put forward by Darwin. It is there in our syllabus. Okay, we will see it afterwards. Now, due to natural selections, that means when the organisms are changing, the nature selects the best. Understood? The nature is continuously changing. The environment is continuously changing. So those organisms who are able to adapt themselves are selected by the environment and they survive. And that leads to a new formation of a new species. And that leads to evolution. So, formation of new species due to changes in specific characters of several generations of living organisms as a response to natural selection is called as evolution. Okay. Now the next, different theories about origin and evolution of life. So I have already told you about that the scientists, there were different scientists who started studying about evolution. They were interested in how earth came into existence, how life came into existence, So there are several theories which was put forward by several scientists based on evolution. Okay, Indian people, Roman people, then Greek people, they put forward their culture, earlier culture. We have much information about the culture or civilizations which had existed several years ago. So based on that, we study about the history of life. So there are different theories which are put forward for evolution of life. This is about unicellular to multicellular animals. That means the study of history is not only for multicellular animals and plants, but about prokaryotic cells also, about stars also, about planets also, about all the things which we see on the planet or outside the planet. The study of all these, the evolution of it, how they evolved. You might have heard about sun, evolution of sun also. Okay, now the next is theory of evolution. It is there on page number 3. It is a 3-mark question which is very frequently asked. Okay, theory of evolution. Now what is theory of evolution? Many years ago, that means about 3.5 billions of years ago, no life was there on Earth. Understood? Earth was just a planet which had no life. Okay, now this is a theory put forward by scientists. Okay, there was no life. Now what was there? But the chemicals were there. Chemicals means elements were there. Elements, we have already studied what are elements. It is the purest form of a substance. Understood? As years went by, due to some changes in the atmosphere, those elements combined together to form macromolecules like proteins, carbohydrates, fats. Now you might be knowing what is carbohydrates, fats, proteins. These are chemicals which are found in living organisms. Okay. Now carbohydrates, fats, proteins were formed due to the chemicals and the changing atmosphere. Understood? Now those chemicals, as the years again went by, in water, in oceans, they came together and formed an organism which was said to be a protoplasm. Now what is protoplasm? Protoplasm is nucleus plus cytoplasm. You have studied about a cell. A cell is having a cell wall or a cell membrane, and inside the cell membrane there is cytoplasm. In the center of the cell there is nucleus. Okay. Now this nucleus plus the cytoplasm is called as protoplasm. Okay. Now in water, all these chemicals like proteins, carbohydrates, they came together and formed the first protoplasm. The protoplasm, they increased in number in water itself, and as years went by, they spread all over in water. Consider, they spread all over in water. Then according to the different surroundings, some of them went on to land, some of them remained in water. Then on land, some of them adapted themselves to the surroundings according to the aerial surroundings. That means according to atmosphere, they changed and small organisms were produced. So the first organism was found to be formed in water. So the existence of life on Earth, it is having an origin of protoplasm in water. Understood? This is theory of evolution. It is there in the textbook. I will tell you from where to where you have to write. Okay. Now on page number 3, there is a heading, theory of evolution. According to this theory, first living material, that is protoplasm, has been formed in ocean. In due course of time, unicellular organisms was formed. Gradually, changes occurred in unicellular organisms from which larger and more complex organisms were formed. All those changes were slow and gradual. Duration of all these changes is at most 300 crore years. Changes and development in living organism had been all around and multidimensional, and this led to the evolution of different types of organisms. Till here you have to write. If you are having a question on theory of evolution, it is a 3-mark question. Now the third definition for evolution, it is towards the end of that page. Progressive development of plants and animals from the ancestors having different structural and functional organization is called as evolution. Progressive means which is going on changing, which is going on improving. Progressive development of plants and animals from the ancestors. Ancestors means earlier organisms having different structural and functional organization is called as evolution. If you are having a question on definition of evolution, it would be better if you write this third definition. Okay, so most of the schools prefer this definition, but some of them, if you are finding it difficult, you may write the first one also. In your notebook, while you write the definition, you may write all the 3. Okay, now these are the definitions. Now there are evidences of evolution. There are different evidences. Evidences means proof. In our textbook, we are having 6 different types of evidences: morphological evidence, anatomical evidence, vestigial organs, paleontological evidence, connecting links, and embryological evidence. These are the 6 different evidences. If you are having a 2-mark question, what are the evidences? You may just write the headings of these evidences, headings of these names. Okay, the 6 evidences of evolution. Okay, this is the next topic. So for those who have not don't have the textbooks, they are requested to write whatever I write on board, so that it will be easier for you later. Okay, so this is about morphological evidence and anatomical evidence. So there are 6 evidences. What are the 6 evidences about evolution? Morphological evidence, anatomical evidence, then vestigial organs, then connecting links, paleontological evidence, and embryological evidence. In this lecture, I will be covering the first 3, that is morphological evidence, anatomical evidence, and vestigial organs. Okay, now morphological evidence. What is morphology? Morphology is the study of external characteristics of an organism. Okay, morphology is the study of external characteristics of an organism. Now when we study the morphology about the living organisms, both plants and animals, in plants you might have seen most of them are having roots, stems, leaves. Last year you had studied about classification of plant kingdom. Do you remember? The kingdom is divided into different divisions. Division Thallophyta, Bryophyta, Pteridophyta. Okay, so thallophytes are plants which do not have roots, stems and leaves. Bryophytes have false stems and leaves, and pteridophytes, their body can be differentiated into root, stems and leaves. Then about gymnosperms and angiosperms. Gymnosperms and angiosperms have seeds. So there is a development one after the other. So it is seen that they have developed from one after the other. So earlier plants were bryophytes or thallophytes. So when the plants were formed, the first plants which were formed would have been thallophytes. Have you understood? That is the theory of evolution. Now when we study the morphology of plants, when we study about leaf shape, leaf petiole, petiole means stalk, date mantar, leaf petiole, and leaf venation. Venation means on the leaf the veins are arranged. Okay, when you draw a leaf, when you arrange, you draw like this, the venation. There are 2 types of venation: parallel venation, reticulate venation. Hope you remember. So the leaf shape, leaf petiole, leaf venation, all these properties every plant has. Even if there is a change in them, okay, a little bit change in different plants, but more or less they are the same, which concluded that all the plants might have had a same ancestor. Ancestor means purvaj, okay, the first, the earlier plants. Now next is animals. Structure of mouth, okay, we have a mouth. Most of the animals are having mouth. Position of eye, ear pinnae, and thickly distributed hair. Most of the animals are having these characteristics. Even if all the animals are having different characteristics, these characteristics are more or less the same, which shows that they might have had a same ancestor. Okay, hope you have understood what is morphological evidence. So in morphological evidence, all these characteristics were studied. Okay, now the next is anatomical evidence. In anatomical evidence, there are some examples. There is a box, there is a diagram which is given in the textbook. Understood? So human hand, foreleg of ox. In some textbooks there is a misprint that you have to change for the second diagram of a bone structure. So it is a foreleg of an ox, patagium of bat, and flipper of whale. Understood? All these organisms, they are similar in their structure. Similar in their structure means they all are made up of bones with joints. Understood? Small bones. You may see the diagram in the textbook. Okay, refer to the diagram in the textbook. They have given very clearly. Okay, so the bones, all of them are made up of bones with digits. Okay, now those there was a similarity in the structure but difference in function. Their functions are different. Human hand, we know what we use our hand for. Foreleg of ox, okay, the use is not the same. Patagium of bat, it is used for flying. We don't use our hand for flying. Okay, flipper of whale, it is used for swimming, for changing the directions also. So there is similarity in structure, difference in function. That comes under anatomical evidence. What is anatomy? It is the structure, the study of structure of an organism, internal structure of an organism, that is said to be anatomy, and external structure is said to be morphology. Okay, so morphological evidence and anatomical evidence. You may copy this. Most of the questions are based on these points which are there in the textbook. They are asked for only as a 1 mark question or a 2 mark question. Okay, copy it. Now the next topic is vestigial organs. What do you mean by vestigial organs? Vestigial organs are those organs which are present in the body but it is of no use to that organism. Okay, we are having some examples. There are several vestigial organs in our body, but we are having only this much of examples in our textbook. So what are vestigial organs? The degenerated or underdeveloped useless organs of organisms are called as vestigial organs. That means some organs are present in the body but they are of no use to us. So why they are present? Okay, that is the question. Now such organs are called as vestigial organs. I will explain with the help of examples. The first one is appendix. Okay, you might have heard about this term appendix. Okay, operation of appendix. So appendix is a finger-like organ which is present near the intestine. Okay, near the large intestine. Now when the food passes through the intestine, okay, it might enter into the appendix. Okay, in our case, in normal organisms, in normal human bodies, what happens? The appendix is flushed out. That means the food is removed. Understood? That means it remains, that is why it remains intact. But in some people, what happens? The food remains there. It gets decomposed and our stomach starts paining. Okay, actually it is a structure which is there in the body but it is of no use to us. So why they are present? Actually it is said that earlier we are supposed to be herbivores. we used to eat raw fruits, okay, raw plants. If you have seen ruminants, what are ruminants? They regurgitate the food. That means, for example, cows, they eat the grass and after some time they regurgitate their food, they chew it again and again digest it. Understood? So what they are having a separate chamber. They are having a separate chamber in their digestive system. Okay. So what is that separate chamber for? That separate chamber is for storing the food for that particular period of time. Okay, so for that particular period of time the food is stored in that chamber. Similarly, we also had that chamber when but our ancestors had it. Okay, earlier our ancestors had that chamber in their digestive system. But as years went by, as human beings got evolved, they started finding the importance of cooking of food. Understood? They started eating cooked food. Then what happened? There was no use of that particular chamber in our body. It was of no use. So the use of that organ, its function went on decreasing and decreasing. So as evolution went by, as years went by, that chamber went on becoming smaller and smaller and smaller, and it is there still in our body, but it is of no function. Understood? Such organs which are there in the body are called as vestigial organs. Hope you have understood. So these are organs which were present in the body earlier, which was functional at those times, but now it is not functional. Appendix is an organ like that. Okay, now appendix is present in the body. Okay, so it is an example of vestigial organ which is present in the body, but it is of no use. Similarly, there is ear pinna. Ear pinna, that means external ear. Actually, the function of external ear is for collection of sound. Understood? But the other animals, if you might have seen, they use it for they change the directions and use it for keeping away the flies. Understood? Even some people are able to move the ear muscles like this. You might have observed, but most of us are not able to do it. So ear pinna, okay, the external muscles, the muscles here had some use earlier, but now it is of no use, but those muscles are still present in our body. Next is tailbone. You know about tailbone. Tailbone is known as coccyx. This is a 2-mark question, 1-mark question, objective. Tailbone, what is tailbone called as? It is called as coccyx. Now the tailbone is of no use to us. It is just present. But in case of monkeys, it helps a monkey to change the direction of their tails. Okay, so that is tailbone is a vestigial organ which is there in our body, but it is of no use to us. Next is wisdom teeth. We are having wisdom teeth. By the age of about 30-35, we get a wisdom teeth which is of no use. Okay, we don't open our mouth that much nowadays, and we don't use that wisdom teeth for chewing also, but still it is present in our mouth. Okay, so that is said to be a vestigial organ because it is there, but it is of no use. Body hairs. Okay, body hairs. If you see monkey, if you see other organisms, they are having fur. Understood? But we don't have fur. But as our evolution, as we started wearing clothes, the use of hairs went on decreasing. So our body does not have that much of hair as much is present on the animal bodies. So body hairs, these are also vestigial organs which are there, but it is of no use to us. It does not protect us from cold and heat. Now, so these are the vestigial organs. Vestigial organs are degenerated or underdeveloped, useless organs of organisms. Okay. Now examples are appendix, ear pinna, tailbone, wisdom teeth, body hairs. The appendix, okay, it is a chamber which is useless to us, but they are useful to ruminants like cow. Ear pinna, it is useless to us, but it is useful in monkeys. Okay, so you may copy this. This is the homework for today. Write a note on theory of evolution, which we have already discussed. I told you the answer also, from where to where you have to write. It is on page number 3. What are the different evidences of the theory of evolution? You have to just write the names. You don't have to explain it. You have to just write the names of 6 different evidences. What are vestigial organs? I had written the definition on the board. Okay, for those who don't have a textbook, for those who are having a textbook, might mark it in your textbook. Vestigial organs, though non-functional in certain organisms, it may be functional in other organisms. You have to give example. There are 2 examples given in the textbook. One is about appendix, which is of no use in human beings, but it is of use in ruminants. And the other is about ear muscles, which is of no use in humans, but monkeys use it till now. Okay, so what do the study of vestigial organs conclude? Vestigial organs conclude that the organisms might have occurred from one organism, they might have formed one after the other. That means first, earlier cow was there, and afterwards some other organisms have been produced, which some other organisms might have been evolved who had different characteristics. So we might have had a common ancestor. That is the point which have to be noted from the evidences of evolution. The remaining evidences of evolution I will be taking tomorrow, okay, in the next lecture. Hope you have understood these evidences. The first evidence, morphological evidence. Second, what is the second evidence? The second evidence is anatomical evidence, and the third evidence is vestigial organs. Okay, see you tomorrow.